Welcome back to all our Auburn recruiting and transfer portal junkies. We have another edition to talk with you about in the 2025 cycle for Auburn's transfer portal. We're talking about the defensive side of the ball once again, and we're going to be talking more specifically about the defensive line. Before we do that, I want to welcome you back to the channel here at E2C Network, where we share the Auburn experience. My name's Kyle. If you don't know me, be sure to make sure you're following, subscribing on whichever platform you're on, and smashing that like button if you do enjoy this type of content. Today, we're talking about the 9th edition in the transfer portal for Auburn football in 2025, and we are finally back on the defensive side of the ball, which has been a need that a lot of fans have felt like some areas should be addressed, namely the defensive line, because you're losing a lot of experience from some transfer portal additions you had last year. Who is that individual we're talking about today? It's Dallas Walker, originally of Texas A&M, but most currently a former Western Kentucky Hilltopper, coming over to be part of the 2025 class, the transfer portal class for Auburn football, who plays on the defensive line and most likely plays interior defensive line, defensive tackle, however you'd like to categorize him. Currently on the website at Western Kentucky, he's listed somewhere in the 320 to 6'4" range, so that fits very nicely into a solid interior defensive lineman, probably a defensive tackle, as we already stated. He's also coming from Texas A&M, so that's a pretty unique storyline in and of itself to look at, because what does that mean? There's probably a pretty good connection with somebody currently on Auburn staff, DJ Durkin. We've seen this happen before with like Isaiah Rakes coming in the previous year and stuff like that. DJ Durkin had these relationships over there, and certainly that has to factor, at least we're speculating, in his decision to come on over here, albeit after a year spending it at Western Kentucky. Let's take a look at some stats. We can certainly look at some of those on ESPN to get a good picture of who Dallas Walker is and what we're getting and what type of player. You'll see that he is listed as a redshirt junior this past season, so he'll have one more year of eligibility. He has, in this past season, 46 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. And I've seen that clip going on of him getting the interception, so that was pretty impressive to watch. So he has athleticism, and he should, as any college athlete should, but I don't think we think of that a lot for defensive tackles, interior defensive linemen. So certainly go watch that if you haven't done so already. Certainly this was his last year was his best year for him. It's been quite a time. Looks like he even maybe missed time in 2022 for whatever reason. I'm not sure what that is, but has been around the game for a while. Been at the SEC level. Has been at some, lower conferences, is now back up ready to reconnect, maybe with DJ Durkin and play at the SEC level. Let's talk about what it means for Auburn football's transfer portal class going forward. As we address, this is the 9th one so far of the transfer portal for Auburn football, and obviously we're back on the defensive side of the ball, which would make it the 3rd overall with 2 defensive backs already coming in. Speaking of which, you should go check out our videos on all of those guys if you're interested. We've got all of them basically that have been in the transfer portal to this point, because at this point he is the 9th one in the 2025 transfer portal class. What does it mean for Auburn football and for him for playing time? Now, Auburn lost a lot of its depth and talent this past year after bringing a lot in the transfer portal last year. There is some talent left over, but some of it is still on the younger side. So you're really looking for somebody with some experience that can potentially plug and play right away. And this might be an opportunity right here for Auburn to find that in Dallas Walker. So I anticipate him to play a lot. Certainly, he's got to come and compete with everybody else. We've got some young talent like Malik Blockton, who's already working their way up to having more and more playing time after already playing a lot this last season. So there's that competition right there. But I think we're going to see him playing a lot. Does this mean that we're done? What does it mean for the future of the transfer portal class and for that specific position? Certainly, we're not done yet. I think we can all look at the tea leaves out there and see there's probably at least somebody else still coming in the class. But at the defensive line position, you lost, as I've said a bunch of times, you've lost a lot of that depth from the previous season, so it wouldn't shock me in the least if somebody else on the defensive line, whether it's a true defensive tackle, whatever, wants to come in and participate in this team next year, because that space is available to couple with that young talent. We'd love to know your thoughts about this particular commitment and what your future and what you think his future is going to be here for the team in 2025. Let us know down there in the comments section below. Thanks for hanging out with us here at E2C Network, where we share the Auburn experience. War Eagle.